Hello, everybody. Welcome to ClapperCast. I am your host, as always, Carson Tamar, joined by the lovely Paul Price. Paul, how are you doing today?
I am doing well.
I just
So,
noticed your Kermit drinking tea hoodie.
yeah,
Love
have
it.
I not told you about my? I do trivia um, every Wednesday, and when I first started, um, Good Morning America had just done this like tweet that was like viral at the time, and it said like, "Oh, will crying LeBron become part of the very famous memes like Smockin and Tea Lizard?" And it was a picture of Kermit drinking tea, and we thought it was so funny, so we were like, "We'll be the Tea Lizards," and so we named our team that. And then the
Oh, that's
next
so
week,
fun.
everyone had forgotten that was a thing. And we were like, wait, Tea Lizards is now so fucking weird and it's very funny. So like we're still like 5 years later, still the Tea Lizards, and everyone's like, what are Tea Lizards? And I'm like, let me tell you.
It's very odd if you go on the Universal Studios backlot tour, which I know is maybe an obscure reference for the general public, but you go through the series of houses, and for some reason, the only project they pointed out was filmed in these houses was that commercial. So I don't know why,
I have to go there.
but if you go, well, you should. I would recommend you, especially now that Mario Land is open. I mean, come on.
I know. And apparently, I don't know for everyone, but the rumors about the seats not being able to fit most people seem to be wrong from some of my friends. They're like, I was expecting not to be able to, and we're fine. So, if you don't know, there was this controversy about like whether or not they made the seats too small for like the average person to even fit in. The size constraints were just like insane, but none of the people I've talked to say they weren't comfortable, but like
Sure.
they fit. And so that's the important thing. You can ride the ride.
Well, the best part about working at a high school is that I get to go as a chaperone for grad night this year, so I will get back to you on the seat sizes.
You got it. You're like, I did not fit.
I did not have to come back and say no, didn't do it. Went and cried in the Hogwarts area instead. Well, there's only like 2 rides I can ride there because I get really bad motion sickness. So like, you know,
Oh,
sad.
for the screen stuff. Are you talking about like the
Oh
screen?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
those are
I
those are.
like. I will never forget just like powering through for the Minions ride and then violently throwing up in one of like the Minion themed trash cans there.
Um,
Was not the
this
vibe.
is completely off topic, but
Right.
every time I do the Minions ride, they have the fart gun, and even though I
Right.
know it's supposed to smell like banana, I always double cover my entire mouth. And all my friends are like, "You know, it smells like banana." I'm like, "Yeah, but the concept really freaks me out. Like that it
Yeah.
could smell. Like maybe this will be the time that it actually is a fart smell, and I'll throw up." Uh,
We love our Universal Studios Minion Ride podcast, our sharing our experiences. Which shockingly is not actually what this episode is about, and I don't assume it's why anyone clicked, but if you want to know more, email us at clappercast@gmail.com. But today, we are talking about Peacock's Poker Face. I think this is our first Peacock original we're reviewing, considering there's not a ton on that platform.
and all of
But Poker
them
Face,
are
go for it.
very mixed quality. I always click on Peacock shows, and I'm like, "Here we go." And then I believe The Resort was on Peacock, and I
Yeah.
really thought I was gonna love that show, and I
Mm.
really fucking hated that show. And people are like, "Where's
Oh,
season 2?"
yeah.
And I'm like, "In hell."
Never forget
The
me clicking episode 1. I was really also there. I was like, I'm going to love it. And then I never watched it anymore.
I watched episode 3, and then I was like, "Is this gonna be like dumb?" And I was like, "Here's the thing, I'm over. I will quit, but I'm gonna go watch the final episode, like skim through it, and just see if it's something that
Okay.
like I want to." And I went to the final episode. I was like, "Oh, this gets real dumb." I was like, and so I went and watched the rest of the series, knowing that it was gonna get real dumb, and it was like this doesn't even make sense as I get closer to the ending.
Look, don't get
um,
me wrong. Peacock, I think, is one of the better streaming services, but I think their originals probably is one of the weakest ones out there.
I mean, I'm a fan of Discovery Plus. I can't really be talking. It's my favorite streaming
So
channel.
mad. My truth, and I know this is a hot take, I am so mad they're not merging Discovery Plus with HBO Max anymore because
I
I
am
want everything
too.
on Discovery Plus, but I don't want to pay for Discovery Plus. I was so
Discovery
ready
Plus is
for it
like
just for one thing.
$4.
I
And
know,
okay,
Paul.
as I will say, the dream of streaming is Discovery Plus, which is TV that you want to watch commercial free just there. Like, that like
Right.
vegetative kind of television. Um, but
Oh,
this
don't
isn't
get
an
me wrong. There's a
episode about
lot.
Discovery.
No, you're right. And I already introduced, if we're talking about Poker Face, Ryan Johnson's Who Done It, the new one, guys. Kind of our soft sequel to our Glass Onion episode, which I'd recommend everyone go watch and listen to. Paul, to be blunt, you're the only reason we're doing this episode. I was not watching this, and then I binge watched it all in 2 days. So I'll let you introduce the show and give your thoughts on Poker Face season 1.
Yeah. So, if you're new to the podcast, you may not know that I hate Ryan Johnson. I hate Ryan Johnson so much. Um, I just find him unable to write. I
He
know
ruined
people
Star
are
Wars. I agree.
no, like okay. I am also of that, but like not in like a fanboy. I don't care about Star Wars. I just watched that and I was like, that's a bad movie. Don't care. No, no, no. But it's like it's specifically Knives Out and Glass Onion, and I know people love them, but like I watched it and I was like, this is not really a mystery because you know who the person is almost the entire time. Well, come to Poker Face. Poker Face tells you in the first like act who the killer is, and it is instead of a who done it, it's a how catch 'em, is what they've been calling it. And because of that, I fuck with it because now I'm not going. You're a bad like. I can enjoy it the same way I think other people enjoy his who done it movies, because the mystery isn't the important part, but it doesn't act like the mystery is the important part. So I'm like, okay, I can enjoy his writing and his characters and everything because like I don't feel like he's trying to be clever, It's like a magician doing it but he's showing you all the cards while he does it and you're like, okay, but I can see it all. This is like he is but he's telling me he's going to. So in that way I really enjoyed it. Also Natasha Lyonne character is great. So the show is kind of inspired by like the 80s and the 90s kind of like um lone person on the road with a lot of guest stars and like where's the mystery going to go. And also the show Columbo, which I am not super familiar with. I've watched a couple episodes, but I thought they were supposed to be murder mysteries and I'm like, but they showed who the killer was. I was very dumb as a child. um so like uh knowing that basically it's all just character work of like you have Natasha Lyonne's character Charlie shows up at a new location. There's a guest star that there's like two categories that seem to be in this movie. Either someone who hasn't like gotten a lot of really cool work yet and does something great, or it's like a famous character actor showing up and like, you know, killing it. And so that's really fun because like I watched the trailers, but I didn't memorize who the names were, so it was really, you know, exciting to like see like, oh look, there's some random that I know. Um, Hong Chow, Stephanie Shu, other people from the Oscar season this year.
I wish it was all the raps. You could go like Hong Chow, Dolly D, the whole thing.
Well, maybe we can get it for season 2, but like, um, I
If Angela Bassett doesn't do the thing in season 2, Ryan Johnson, what's up?
um, but overall, I think the show works really well. I also, not to move into spoilers at all, because I think that the show doesn't need it, just to like discuss it, unless we want to get into it later. But I really liked how it built up the stakes. There were like a couple moments where it was like, oh, okay, the stakes are getting, bigger, but we're going to leave it for a little bit and then bring it back up. It felt very narratively like a mix between procedural and more serialized, which is unique. And I think season 2 also has the opportunity to continue that. Um, but yeah, I think overall, like there are definitely some flop episodes, but they're flop episodes in the same way that like old shows used to have flop episodes, and I kind of don't mind it as much. It doesn't feel like, because they're procedural, you're like, that one didn't work, but I don't have to deal with these characters ever again. Like, I never have to see Cherry Jones as long as I live. She's done. Which that was the worst performance in the entire show, bar none. But I'm curious what you thought.
I have some issues about how it comes together as a series, which we will get to as a season, like just watchability wise. But in a vacuum, I agree. I like the first Knives Out. If you didn't watch our review or whatever, I think the first one's entertaining, but the mystery is bad. The second one is less entertaining, and the mystery is still bad. I think Rian Johnson really finds his knack here of these 60-minute episodes, or just under an hour most, of just like, it doesn't matter what the mystery is. You don't even have to like, not just you don't have to sit with these characters for a long time, but you don't have to sit with this mystery for like a long time. No matter how stupid the plot is, even if we're going to spend an entire episode at the nursery home and they go on a zoo field trip, right? Like the character work and the dialogue is so fun most of the time that it really is just like a very fun, simple but like rewarding watch, with a still overarching plot that I think if you need something a little bit more, there to get some follow through, I think that will be there for you. The filmmaking is really fun, and I think this is probably some of the strongest Rian Johnson comedy. Even like, I think probably the Knives Out, the first film, is better. But when it comes to little references, such as the little Okja thing, or like little moments like that, there is a cleverness here that's like definitely not going to be for everyone. It is quite alienating, I would say, for general audiences at times. But I think like for me and the people who like are basically aware of film and stuff, like it is very fun.
Yes. I will say the Okja moment is my least favorite part of the entire series. Not because it's Okja, just because Okja's on Netflix, and I am pretty sure that they were like, you can't reference a Netflix property by saying go watch it on Netflix. And so they were like, okay, we'll use an FYC copy of Okja. And that's
Well,
what
to be clear, it's not an FYC. To
No,
be
it
clear, it's
is.
an unreal. Is it officially?
It
Because
says
it's not like, it doesn't
it
look
says
like an
at the top.
FYC.
No, someone
For
took it.
reference, this is an FYC. It's not like a real
Right.
DVD
No,
case.
no,
This
no,
is a
no. But
Netflix
at the top of
FYC.
the top of the, I looked on Twitter and someone posted it, and at the top it says for your consideration. So they
How do you
like
think she got? I love that. That's like even funnier though. Like, it's what a
Charlie's
perfect
just
like
in the academy.
perfect.
How did Charlie vote?
The only thing I wish is that he used like the real Okja FYC DVD. That would have been like just icing on the cake.
So
But
funny.
oh well.
Yeah, no, so it's but overall, like, it is a show that took me a while to get into. I watched the first episode. I think the first episode is rough, by the way. I think it's the arguably one of the worst of the season. It just like something about it was really grating to me, and I think it's has a lot to do with the fact that it has a little too much like cutesiness with like there's a MacGuffin, and also introducing you to the world of the murder first. Also trying, it just is a lot of info dumping, which makes for a rough episode basically. But once she gets on the road, I was really enjoying it. I think
I really enjoyed the first episode. I think the ones that were really rough for me were the like band one. I thought that one was kind of like dull, and the episode 8 I thought was very boring.
was the episode 8 the one with Cherry Jones and the Star Wars kind of like.
Yes.
Yes.
The
That
one
one,
Natasha Lyonne directed, which I feel so bad being like, that one was the bad one, but like,
it's because
Natasha,
it's
love
Cherry
you in front of the
Jones.
camera.
It definitely is Cherry Jones's fault. Um, like I was watching her, and I usually like Cherry Jones, but like something about that character, I was like, please.
What was your favorite episode? Like, which ones did you really love?
Okay, so my favorite one, bar none, is the retirement home.
Yes.
Like it had cool twists. It had characters that I enjoyed. I was interested, and I also felt the like you know, um, push and pull of whether or not like they were doing a good thing or not. I thought all that was really cool. Um, I think. Um, oh, and I also really liked episode 9. I think episode
Yeah,
9 worked really well for me. Um, outside of
that one
Step,
and the barbecue are my favorites for sure.
barbecue was really great as well.
I really like Fascist Dog. That's great.
Oh, that was very funny. Um, I, the other thing, and I know how these shows usually work, is that they'll bring back some of these characters in season 2, like for sure. But I felt like some of the characters, some of the like, especially Hong Chao, like show up and then just immediately disappear. Oh, another one I really liked was the actors. The actors was the only time in the show where I legitimately like gasped when they revealed who the killer was. And what I was going to say was the show kind of reminds me of shortened versions of the White Lotus, in that feeling in the White Lotus is like I know something bad's going to happen and I'm reading the tea leaves to see what it is. And then this was very much like, okay, we're doing that, but it's only 10 minutes. Like instead of 6 episodes, we're just going to see where this goes. And I think it had some really cool moments because of that. I do think sometimes it's a little too telegraphed what's going to happen, so you're just more bored. Um, but outside of that, I don't think that's a huge deal. Um,
I think my biggest issue when it comes to like boringness or watching value, because like I binged this, and I will say I think binging is the wrong move here, just because it gets so formulaic to a point that it does start to kind of drag a bit. But I also was thinking like weekly television wise, if I tuned in like once a week for this, I don't know if I would be compelled to like keep coming back. Like again, in a vacuum, I think every episode's really fun and engaging and worthwhile, but like I don't think there's a really great way to view the entire season for me at least. I don't think it's engaging enough for like, oh, I can't wait every single week. But also binging, I don't think it's that effective. I don't know if you have any takes on that, but I
um,
felt that was the biggest complaint, I guess you could say, for me.
I think exactly how they actually released it was the best way to release it. So they did 4 episodes and then weekly for the rest of them. And like for some reason that worked perfectly for me because by episode 4 I was like because by episode because by episode 4 I was like, yeah, I'm into this now. You have now caught me. And then weekly was like there were legitimately like Wednesdays that I was like, ooh, there's going to be a poker face next week. And then there were other times when it'd be like Wednesday, and I was like, ooh, I have a poker face, and there's going to be another one tomorrow. Um, and then so once episode 9 happened, and that's when the series kind of starts wrapping up the first season, I was like, oh no, no more poker face, which was wild to me because I like was as a critic, you're not supposed to go in and be like, I'm ready to hate something. I was so ready to hate this. Like we even discussed talking about it. I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't even. And then I came back and was like, no, we need to talk about it. It's actually like really fun. Um, I think binging would have been rough. Maybe if you'd started at like the beginning of the week and binged over a week, it might have been a little because there were
I mean, it's
times.
still like good. I'm not saying like it's unwatchable. I like definitely enjoyed the
No, I know.
experience, but like, yeah.
Because I think 3 is the amount that I could do in a row, and then I'd be like, oh, right. 3 is kind of like going back to the 90s and being like a little kid. That was like, if you were doing a marathon of like um, any of those kind of shows. Like I'm thinking of Pretender, which was a very deep cut. But I guess any of the Law and Orders or something, you could do like 3, and then you're like, okay, like I can't do this anymore. Any like um any kind of the murder mystery shows, um, but I think this like overall um will really blow up by season 2, so that'll be really fun. I think that people are going to keep finding it which is nice. And it also gives Peacock something to like, hey, we have a crown jewel outside of, you know, Tar.
Right. I think that the biggest hurdle for this show is just that it's on Peacock, which is a streaming service that has like very, 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 very little like social awareness or conversation. I think that's the biggest thing the show's missing. I remember like watching CSI with my sister and like having friends who like watch CSI and stuff like that. And like all those shows had this social consciousness that made it very fun to like talk about and to engage with. And I feel like that community is the only thing lacking from Poker Face. But hopefully it does blow up and hopefully people watch it. I think most people who subscribe to Peacock are like old women who want to watch Days of Our Lives. But like, I sure as hell hope people watch it because it is very fun. And I do think it's genuinely probably the best thing Rian Johnson has ever done. Like, peace and
Yeah.
love to everyone who loves his other work. I'm not a big fan of most.
Yeah, and like it is interesting. Even people who love Ryan Johnson are loving this, and I don't know what I would say that it's. I've always admired Ryan Johnson. I just don't find him good. There's people who I genuinely think are like hacks. I don't think he's a hack. I just don't. I don't vibe with his style. And I think because he's working with other writers here and other directors, and Natasha Lyonne is obviously like invested in it. It doesn't get to be just the Ryan Johnson show. Um, and so I think that's why it ultimately works. Again, if you listen to the podcast a lot, I don't believe in a lot of our tours. I think there's a couple good ones, but I think most people could benefit from having someone help um, and give advice.
Do you
Studios,
think Natasha
similar.
Lyonne will be in Knives Out 3? What's over under?
No, I do think there will be a wink and nod between the two, but I think because they're rival streamers, it's going to be like
Hmm.
very hard to do that.
Oh god, Daniel Craig is gonna be in Poker Face season 2, isn't he? There it
I
is.
don't know. I feel like they might try to figure out some sort of like crossover where it's like the two of them working on something together and it's just a one-off thing.
Sure.
It's probably honestly it's probably loaning her character out to some sort of Knives Out like holiday special or something
That'd be
because like
fine.
she's the one who could benefit from that more than like anyone watching Poker Face has seen Knives Out and not vice versa.
Sure. I think that would be fun. I think she's obviously great in the show and I think her character is like one of the better written Ryan Johnson characters, even the ones I like, normally at least have like some period where they're like, "Oh, that's kind of annoying or dull or like that's not great." Even like Benoit Blanc, who Peace and Love we love. Um I think that she's probably one of the stronger characters and I think that would be a really fun team up. So, I'm here
Yeah.
for it.
The only two characters in this felt a little Ryan Johnson-y. Both that he directed actually. The Adrian Brody character, and then also just Gordon Levitt's character. Not in that they're just like evil white entrepreneurs, but this like they borderline aren't human. Like they're so malevolent. You're like, but like what is your day to day like, most evil person in the world? Like compared to like Benjamin Bratt's character, who is evil but like I believe that he could exist in this world. He has like maybe not a moral compass, but he at least has some sort of compass. It's not just what's the most evil thing I could do at all points. I think that's it's just something that he's I think particularly bad at is just like sometimes the villains are just a little too flat. Feel very like um, old school Disney villains, like the Evil Queen and things like that, or Lady Tremaine, and you're like, but why?
I think they work better here rather than Glass Onion. Like Glass Onion, because I think, a very similar villain in a lot of ways. I feel like one beautiful thing about the show, which thank God and hopefully it doesn't go into season 2, is it doesn't often feel like it's like trying to say that, it is saying something. Glass Onion thinks it's a genius movie, right? I don't think
Yeah.
Poker Face, there's many episodes here where I'm like, oh, it feels as if it's sucking its own dick and being like, this is some great social commentary. So I think it works much better there, because
Yeah.
when you break it down, the characters are not that interesting.
No, the
The
only
villains,
episode.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. The only episode where I felt like they were trying to say something was the second one. Um, but the message was so muddled that it almost didn't feel like it. I definitely feel like he had something, but I don't know what it was supposed to be. So it ended up being nothing in a way that works. Like, also, that's I don't know if you noticed, but the bad guy character in that, I was gonna spoil the show. I was like, oh no, should I spoil the show that obviously is tells you who the killer is in the first 5 minutes? That is Connor Murphy from Dear Evan Hansen. Um, and yeah,
And Bruce from Uncle Frank, let's be clear, your favorite film of all
oh
time.
god, no. But what's so funny is like there's some times with these like character actors where I'm like, that character's really good, and then I go and look it up, and I'm like, oh, it's I did it again. It's the guy I thought was good in Dear Evan Hansen. I also did that with the kid from White Lotus season 1, Fred Hershker or whatever, where I was like, oh, he's good, and then I was like, oh, he's been in 3 things that I thought he was good in. So that's fun. I like when there's like little character actors who are like building their way up. Barry Kogan. Um, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name.
Very Kjorgen, I say, but I
Yeah,
don't know.
it does not have an R in there. But yeah, that's like, you know, those little actors. Paul Mescal, I guess, is another one where it's like, hey, they're good, and then all of a sudden they're doing a lot. But I think that also can be like a real joy in this show. That start getting some like smaller names. It is wild. There is a world where he put Stephanie Shu in this movie and no one knows who that is. Like like Everything Everywhere just happened to hit at the right point. But like she has a pretty big role for someone who easily could have been like no one. Which is
Hong
it's
Chow
cool. I like
also.
that. Yeah. I
I
mean,
will say I do like. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Hong Chow. I feel like has a little bit of a name, but yeah, she is hitting at the right
A little
moment.
bit more. I will say I do appreciate what you're saying about these younger actors. I do need Margot Martindale in season 2. I'll just throw that out there. Like, I want
Oh,
it.
we didn't even talk about it. Fucking Rhea Perlman. Um,
Right.
Also, I think it's very funny that the villains have gone from Ron to Rhea Perlman. When I heard her voice, I was like, "Oh, cool! I love her." um, that'll be a really fun villain. I really hope that like the Five Families is like a great group of like character actors. Like you're saying, I want
Yeah.
Margot to be in that group, and it just be like all these like weird evil people. And I'm assuming what it's going to be is she takes down one by one, and this will be like, you know, the Five Families. So you've got like 6 seasons total, which is great. Sure,
Yeah.
like, or you know, take down 2 in a season, and then you have, you know, 4 more seasons. But I think this show will last forever. Honestly, I can't see it has such a good engine on it. You know, uh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say it's also like this is. I mean, not to kick the streaming service, but like it is the only original that has any traction there. They're gonna hold on to this baby until they get something new. Like they're not gonna
Oh
let
yeah,
go of their one selling point for like younger audiences.
but I think what's really interesting is there are a few shows that have a great engine right now. White Lotus, um, Poker Face. I'm really trying to like. I've been trying to dig through my brain, trying to think what else I'm like. Oh, those shows can just keep going, and I think we're seeing that with you saying it's ending soon. Um, uh, Succession, Barry, all of those shows, Ted Lasso, all of them like ending
Yeah.
because we during Prestige Television did these like huge concepts, and the problem is a huge concept is finite. Um, which you have to like in terms of marketing, in terms of like brand awareness, it is pulling Stranger Things ending as well. It's so much work to get people to know about it, and then it's gone.
Hey,
So
maybe The Idol, right? Maybe that's gonna be one.
no, The Idol is another one. You can't go on that show. I mean, I know you're joking, but also like that's to my point. Euphoria, to my point. Like you can't keep doing that. Or you have shows that keep going to the wheels fall off, where it was a one and done arc kind of situation. Most notably, one of my favorite shows of the past couple of years, Elite, started out and it was a great show, and then by season 3 it was done, and it's now on season 6. I think they're currently working on season 7, and it's like I stopped watching it season 3. I was like, I don't need to, the show ended. What's left? And then I'll go read, and I'm like, what happened? It's like Riverdale. Any of those shows, like, so I really want with these. I want these streamers to like start doing more of this, where it's like, oh, I could put, like, I fully believe I could put on any one of these episodes for someone. Like, I would probably put on the old ladies. I'd be like, you can go find out why she's on the run, but like, let's just watch this one. And you'd be like, okay, cool, I get it. And that's great. Streaming shouldn't be, so serialized, so high concept. It's nice. It's
I don't
refreshing.
disagree, and I think it's going to be the movement that we go towards. I think a lot of like the old traits of television, whether or not it's the serialization, whether or not it's the weekly releases, or I think a lot of that is going to start coming back. I think it's a pendulum, and it's going to swing back into kind of the older dynamics. But I'm here for it because I think overall they seem to be better than what we've been getting. So
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Well, if you want to watch Poker Face season 1 and ideally the other seasons, you can sign up for Peacock and go watch it on there. Maybe this is the start of the Peacock Renaissance. Who knows? Paul, we did not talk about doing this beforehand, so I'm going to kind of drop it on you. Tonight is the Oscars when we are releasing this, and I just want to know very quickly, temperature check. Who do you think is winning Best Picture? Who do you have?
Oh my god, Everything Everywhere All at Once. My favorite
God,
film of the year.
well, you know,
Okay, I
you
will
should make
say
it your favorite film of
I
the
will
year.
say I rewatched it and it was worse.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I'm still 4 stars on it, but it wasn't the best on rewatch.
I and I not to talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once real quick because it'll be winning, but the one thing with me every single time is I'm like, oh, we're at the last 10 minutes of the movie. And then you look and there's 50 minutes left. And then I finish it and I'm like, what happened for 50 minutes? People make fun of Tar for being slow. And I'm like, legitimately, a good third of this film is the finale. Like the like finale.
Well, the first third is just the intro of The Office, so yeah.
I know that's.
But okay, so
I think everyone remembers that middle part. Okay, but
yeah.
everything.
Do
Continue
you what
on.
what do you
Director.
think number 2 would be? Well, I'm just number 2 for Best Picture.
I think
It's
number
nothing that's gonna
two.
upset.
Okay, so here's the thing. I think number 2 is the biggest shock of the night, and we'll never know it. Like, I am sure you would find out number 2 and be like, "Oh my god!" I fully believe it could be something like Tar. I fully believe it could be something like fucking Women Talking or Triangle of Sadness.
Hey.
I think anything has a chance because of how the rules work. That you put your number 1, and if your number 1 doesn't happen, it's your number 2, and down, 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 down. I think there are people who will sync Everything Everywhere. I think there are people who, maybe it's going to be All Quiet as number 2, and people are saying All Quiet could win, but then it was picked the most one. Because of the preferential ballot. I think whatever number 2 is would be like a shocker. The only thing I'm
Sure.
almost positive it isn't is Avatar. Everything else,
I
like,
think that's
I
valid.
fully believe you could make an argument for any of them.
Okay, so Best Director, I assume you're going the Daniels?
Yep. No, just
Okay,
Daniel.
actor?
It's not the actor.
Actor? I'm going Austin Butler.
I'm going Colin Farrell.
Mm.
I think the problem is, like, not to be like a big shock, but I do think that people are going to be like, oh, like when you look at that list, you're like, Colin Farrell is like the story that Brendan Fraser says he has, who's like you know, an actor that we've nominated never, and like this is his big shot. And what's so funny is people are like, he'll be back. I've read, you know, things, oh, Farrell will be back, and it's like, he hasn't been here. Like, why do you believe he's gonna be back? I mean,
But
maybe,
is Colin Farrell in a fat suit this year?
that's true.
I
Honestly,
we really have
if
both taken
Podrick,
the paths around destruction here, which is Brendan Fraser.
also, they could have put him in the fat suit from the Penguin. He was in a fat suit, just not in this movie.
Okay, that's fair. Best actress, I maybe they'll go to like the makeup thing and like confuse the two and be like, well, sure, who knows? Actress, I'm going Michelle Yeoh.
Yep,
Please go
same.
Blanchett or Risenborough because it'd be fun. My truth is I want Risenborough to win just for the chaos. Original screenplay, everything.
Yeah.
I assume,
The
yeah,
only thing is that if a Banshee's contendant pops out, but I don't think that that'll happen, because
sure,
I I think one of the biggest problems for this year for both Tar and Banshees is that Tar and Banshees people are the same people. Like, I think there's a
right,
little bit different on each, but I think like people who don't like Everything Everywhere, they're going to be a fan of one of those, and like
right,
I think they're going to. We didn't coalesce around a second option. Like if we
yeah,
had all said, like if they had decided, okay, the backup is Todd is getting director and McDonough is getting screenplay, I think there's a possibility it could have happened.
yeah.
But I think because it's split, they'll both be like close, but not neither will make it.
At least it didn't manifest around Fablemans. There's a very real world where like Fablemans would have won Best Picture. I'm very happy we don't live in that world. I'll
See,
take
I think
everything
I would
over
prefer
that.
Fablemans.
It's such a bad movie. Whatever. Adapted screenplay. I'm going Women Talking. Right.
I'm going all quiet. I want to say Women Talking, but I just think like people may not have even watched it, and I think everyone watched
Sure.
All Quiet.
Huh, what do you mean? You mean that the old white men of the Academy didn't watch the Women Talking movie? That's crazy.
No, just
Supporting
it had
act.
like a really bad stench on it, and not because of
Yeah.
what it is. It just like for some reason, and you know what? I think I'm right that She Said and Women Talking kind of fucked each other. I think the titles are so
Yeah.
similar that I bet if you talked to people until recently and mentioned one of them and
Sure.
said it was the plot of the other, you would be like, "Yeah, I believe that." Like
The
Women
Quiet Girl really got ahead on the fact and like advertised
No, I'm
well
not saying
then.
that. It's just it's the same
I know.
word. So and they could like She Said easily could be Women Talking, and Women Talking makes more
Sure.
sense than She Said. I understand why it's he said, she said, but
Oh,
I think there's
I love that I never put that together. She said, I like obviously my life never had a moment where I was like, I'm gonna really dissect the title there.
yeah,
Never
no,
put that
it's
together.
he said,
That's
she said,
great.
but there's no he said because he's not going to speak on record, so it's only she said.
Wow. See, another reason to love that movie. Supporting actor, I assume you're going Quan for everything.
Yes,
Okay. And then supporting actress, I'm going Jamie Lee, and I hate
same.
it, but I'm going to it. But I want it being well
I
back.
prefer that over like personally over Bassett or Shoe.
Jamie Lee?
Yeah, and here's
Oh
why. I
God. She's the
rewatched the
worst part of that film
No,
for
I
me.
was gonna say she's my favorite part of the movie. I think my favorite, the only part where I like feel myself connecting with the movie is unfortunately in what I think is the
When she's
dumb.
sad and depressed in the office. No, I'm kidding.
No, no, no. When they're doing the hot dog scene, um,
Hmm.
I'm sitting there and I was like, yeah, I get this. Like, I get what you're trying to do with the like when they're like having their breakup and it's like, oh, in a different world they really had that they could have something and instead they have nothing. I feel like that was the one moment in this entire movie where I'm like, I get what you're trying to do. I think it doesn't work the rest of the spots, and I think this, as I say, the movie will age like milk. But
Sure.
I think for right now, yeah, I like if I was going to give my number one Oscar, I would give to Everything Everywhere is costume. I think the costumes are
Yeah.
instantly iconic. So
Agreed.
hard to do boring costumes and make them iconic, like because they really keep them, in the world. And then second, I think, would be Virginia.
It's fucking crazy, but valid, I guess.
um, and the thing is, I think I'm the exact, like, when I go and read like the blind items, I'm like, yeah, I'm saying the same reasons. It's like it's a career one, but also she's really good. She's doing something really embarrassing. Like, if it had not worked, if this movie hadn't worked, like, she's like got a pot belly and the worst haircut. Like, it would have been like disastrous for her, but she like
Right.
went for it anyway. Kind of during her renaissance moment too. So, like,
Okay.
the it was prior to this newest one where everyone was like, okay, the
Yeah.
Halloween movies actually weren't good.
So the last question I'll ask for the Oscars is, out of what is nominated, if you had to pick one thing to win an award, what would it be? Like, it doesn't matter if it's actually going to win, but like if you could decide one of these races for one thing, what would it be?
Okay, I'm not gonna say picture because I think that's unfair. Not unfair, but like it's so easy. Um, I'm gonna go director Tar. I really want Blanchett to win, but I believe that could. So
Oh,
I'm not gonna use that.
I
What's
would
yours?
love for her to win. Probably hold my hand for song. I want Gaga to get that Oscar.
When she's not
Tell Sex
there.
Drive. No, she's gonna be in. No, she's confirmed she's in the audience, just not performing, which is so bullshit, and I'm so mad about it. But whatever, it's fine.
Wait, that's
It's
so
not
weird.
fine.
Okay, the weirdest part is too.
Joker
Could
2 is already taking from us. This is becoming an abusive relationship with me. It's not good, Paul.
you just slowly turn into Harley Quinn?
I wanted to support. I was like, I'm here for it, and now they're already taking. So we'll see.
That's a little surprising because at that point I would have like picked someone else to sing the song then, or like
Sure. Well, I
what?
don't. Have they made an official statement about like no one is performing? I didn't like. All I've read is that Gaga won't be performing.
I read that Gaga wasn't going to be performing and they were going to reference the song. So I assume they've
Hate
created like
it.
a little music. Oh, what would have been smart? Do it as the remembrance
In
song.
memoriam.
Yeah, I wonder
Yeah,
if they do that.
they could.
Because
Yep.
um she's not performing and people like the whole someone performing while that's happening has gotten like gauche, which it always was.
Have they announced who that is? Normally they announce it, but I don't think this year we have
That's what
anyone.
I'm wondering, if they just are going to play the song and then
Yeah.
because
I just
it is
want her to
a
get that
ballad.
acting award, and to do that, you need to play the game, Gaga. And this is not playing the game, but it's fine. Whatever. So cool. Well, you can watch the Oscars tonight if you want. I'm sure we will be back, not on our next episode, but next week to discuss what went down. But with that, thank you so much for watching. Paul, where can we find you on social media?
At Price Like Tag on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd.
And you can find me on Twitter at BP_movie reviews. Thank you so much for listening and watching to this podcast episode. We'll be back tomorrow, actually, for our Scream 6 spoiler review. And then we have Shazam and a bunch of shit because it's never ending from now to the end of the summer season. So a lot of fun stuff happening. But thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week. Goodbye.